Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see your names, even though I can see your faces and your bodies. It's nice to see your names and have you here with me this afternoon. We're going to, my plan for our time together is we're going to start seated, and we're going to begin with a little pranayama. And pranayama is just a fancy Sanskrit word for breath control. And breathing is a really important part of your yoga practice, right? And for all of our years together, I always talk about breath, talk about breath, talk about breath. But never has breathing or the word breath really taken on so much significance as it has this past week, or even these past couple of months, right? So our country is in the midst of a couple of crises. And one of them is a virus that is at its core a respiratory illness that deprives you of your ability to breathe. And we're in another humanitarian crisis that is at its core based on a person's inability to breathe. So as we go through our practice this afternoon together, let's try to go through this practice with a real appreciation and awareness of our breath. So we're going to begin in an upright posture. So to help you sit up a little bit taller, right, we tend to want to slump over. But if you place your hands on your knees and gently press into your knees, it's going to help you to lift up through your side ribs. You can bring your shoulders up toward your ears and then relax them, let them fall back onto your back. Close your eyes and just become aware of your breath. Maybe you feel your breath as it touches your nostrils. Maybe you feel your breath traveling down your throat. Perhaps you don't notice it until it arrives in your chest or starts to move your ribs. But wherever you notice your breath, pay attention. And then we're going to count as we inhale and as we exhale. So I like to use the word Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. You can choose another word if you'd like to. But I'm going to ask you to inhale and exhale to a count of 3 Mississippi. So let all the breath out of your body. And then inhale 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And exhale 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Inhale 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And exhale 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And do a few more rounds of that on your own. And then on your next round of inhaling and exhaling, see if you can jump up to a count of 5. And after your next exhale, release any sense of controlling your breath, release any sense of counting your breath, and let your breath return to its smooth, natural, normal pace. Bring your hands together at your heart center and gently press your hands into each other. And notice what happens when you do that. Feel yourself activating the muscles in your shoulders, your forearms, maybe in your chest. And then you can release that sense of pressing them together and allow your chin to drop down toward your chest. So with your chin dropping toward your chest, you're compressing your throat a little bit. That might affect your breath. Notice that. And then begin to open your eyes and follow your hands with your gaze as you raise your arms up over your head. Reach up as high as you can. And then take another nice big sip of air. Reach up even higher. And as you exhale, allow your right arm to come behind you. Your left hand comes onto your right thigh. You turn your belly, your ribs, your chest. You look over that right shoulder. And stay here for a moment. As you exhale again, see if you can deepen that twist slightly, maybe looking even a little bit further over that right shoulder. Bring yourself back to center. Raise your arms over your head. Lengthen that spine that was just twisted. And then your left hand comes behind you, right hand onto your thigh. Turn your belly, your ribs, your chest, and begin to look over that left shoulder. Pause again, lift a little higher, and as you exhale, twist a little deeper. Inhale back to center, arms come up. You have that axial extension, that length in your spine, and then palms forward and begin to fold forward, relaxing your head, noticing your entire spine from the base of your skull to your tailbone. And then continue to creep your fingers a little bit further out. Take another big breath in. Use your exhale to lift you up onto your hands and knees. So once you come onto your hands and knees, I'm just going to move back a little bit. Once you come onto your hands and knees, spread your fingers nice and wide. Try to notice yourself pressing into your fingertips. Don't collapse into the heel of your hand. Begin to drop your belly button, lift your tailbone, look up. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone, tuck your chin, round your spine. And then again, drop your belly button, tailbone raises, look up. As you exhale, tuck and round. Come to a neutral spine, sweep your right arm up into the air. So you're twisting your side ribs, you're looking up to that right hand, and then you're gonna thread the needle by sweeping that right arm underneath your left, dropping your cheek, dropping your shoulder, and maybe walking your left arm out in front of you. Slide that left hand back. Lift yourself back up onto your hands and knees, and then sweep that left arm up into the air, turning to look up to that left hand. Big breath in, and as you exhale, sweep that left arm under you, dropping your cheek, dropping your shoulder, and maybe creeping those right fingers out in front of you, threading the needle on the other side. Come back up to center, curl your toes, and begin to very slowly lift your knees, pause. Lift them a little higher, pause. Keep your head relaxed, hips come up a little higher, knees straighten a little bit more, and then you straighten your legs as much as they can as you begin to relax your heels. Come back to your tippy toes, bend your right knee, let that left heel come all the way down. And then back to your tippy toes, left knee bends, right heel comes down. Come back to your tippy toes, stay nice and high in your tippy toes. Notice what this feels like in your toe joints. And then let both of your heels come all the way down. Back to your tippy toes, rock yourself forward to plank. Big breath in. Exhale, come back to down dog. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, plank. Another big breath in. Exhale, down dog. And then lift that right leg nice and high in the air. Hold it up for a moment. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, bring your knee to your nose and then send it back out. And then knee to your nose again. Send it back out. Drop your right foot behind your left foot. So you're crossing your ankles right now. You're lifting your hips a little higher. You're getting a big stretch behind that left leg. Uncross your feet, and then that left leg goes nice and high in the air. Big breath in. Exhale, knee to your nose. Inhale, send it down. Exhale, knee to your nose. Inhale, send it out. As you exhale, that left foot crosses behind your right. You lift your hips a little higher, and you get a nice stretch in that right hamstring. Uncross your feet. Come up high onto your tippy toes. Bend your knees. Let them hover, and then release your knees down. Sink yourself back into your child's pose for a moment. Take a couple of little resting breaths. Noticing if your relationship to your breath changes at all as you change your body position now. Come back up onto your hands and knees. So we're going to stay on our hands and knees, and you're going to shift all of your weight into the right side of your body. You're going to extend your left leg and your left arm, and then roll your shoulder back. Notice how your hip comes with you. You're going to point those left toes forward. Begin to move that left leg forward, and then move that left leg back. Move your leg forward. Move your leg back. Move that left leg forward, tap it down, and then lift it up. Tap it down, lift it up. Tap it down, lift it up, bring it back, bend your knee, reach behind you, see if you can find that left foot. And really bring that left heel toward your butt, getting a big stretch down the front of that right thigh, left thigh. With control, release your hand. Stretch your leg out behind you. Look down at your mat. Take a nice breath in. And as you exhale, step that left foot forward. And then bring your hands onto your thigh. Big sip of air. And as you exhale, you start dropping down. So make sure that your foot is not too far back. You want that foot far enough forward that there's a little slope there. So that when you drop down, you can get a big stretch in your right hip flexor now. Sweep your arms over your head. Interlace your fingers. Drop down a little further and look up. And then release your hands back onto your knee. Start to bend that right knee, bringing your heel toward your butt. Reach behind you. See if you can find that right foot. And stay here if you feel okay. Or maybe you raise your left arm up into the air. With control, release your hand, release your foot. Shift your weight back. Come onto the heel of that left foot. Point your toes to your face. Big stretch down the whole back of that left leg. Come up onto your fingertips. Creep your fingers forward and then surrender your body down. And then try to imagine that maybe I'm standing behind you and I'm going to put my hand on that left hip and move it back a little bit more. Notice if even that sense of just yourself guiding that hip back deepens the stretch in the back of your left leg. And then look forward, slide that left leg back, curl your toes. Once again, very slowly lift your knees and pause. Then your hips get higher, your legs start to straighten, and then they straighten all the way. You drop those heels down. Come up onto your tippy toes. Rock yourself forward to plank. This time you're going to take a big breath in. As you exhale, you're going to come to chaturanga. Straighten your arms, plank. Lift your hips, down dog. So this is a short little vinyasa, right? We're putting one move right after the next without stopping. It's a challenging one, but we're going to do it a couple more times. So come up onto your tippy toes. Rock yourself forward to plank. Take a big breath in. Use your exhale to help lower you down. Hover, hover, hover. Straighten those arms, and then lift your hips, come back to down dog. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, plank. Bend your elbows, chaturanga, hover. Nice breath in. Exhale, plank, pause. Lift your hips, down dog. And then tippy toes. Come back to your plank. Lift your right foot up just a little bit and release. Lift your left foot up a little bit and release. Bend your knees. Bring your hips to your heels. This time, arms can come behind you. Relax your shoulders. So you're back in your child's pose, which gives you the opportunity to check back in with your breathing. Lift yourself back to your hands and knees. If you want for a moment, you can turn your hands so your palm is facing upward and your fingers are pointing toward your knees, and you're going to lean back a little bit, stretching the top of your wrists. And then come back. And now your fingers are pointing toward you, but your palms are on the mat, and you're going to lean back again. And then sit on your heels for a moment and shake your wrists out. Maybe turn them around a little bit. Reverse it, go around the other way. And then hands come back to the floor. And you're going to shift all of your weight into the left side of your body, extending that right leg and that right arm, and you roll that shoulder back. Notice how your whole body's connected, right? Your shoulder starts to move, your ribs start to move, your hip starts to move. So your whole body is facing, I don't know what, maybe your iPad. You're going to look up to that right hand for a moment. And then you're going to look forward, point your toes forward, start to move that right leg forward, and then move it back. Notice what it's doing to your hip joint. You're bringing hip flexibility, and then move that leg forward, and then move it back. Move it forward, tap your foot and lift, tap and lift, tap and lift. Move your leg back, bend your knee, reach behind you, find your foot. And really draw that heel toward your butt so you can stretch into this hip flexor. This is where your psoas muscle starts, right here. And it wraps around. So this tends to be very tight. This is an excellent stretch for your psoas. With control, release your hand, and then you stretch that leg out behind you. You look between your hands, and you step your foot between your hands. And then you bring your hands onto your thigh to steady yourself. You take that nice breath in, and as you exhale, you drop down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, drop down. Arms sweep up over your head. And you look up. Try to use that right foot to steady yourself. Look forward, release your hands back to your thigh. Start to bend that right foot knee. Reach behind you, see if you can find your right foot or ankle. Hold on to it. And then raise that left arm up into the air. Or left, I'm sorry, did I say right, I meant left. With control, release that foot. Hands come to the mat. Shift your weight back. You're on the heel of that right foot, your right toes are in the air, you come onto your fingertips. Big breath in. As you exhale, creep your fingers forward, surrender yourself down. And then imagine, right, like I'm going to put my hand right in that hip crease and gently draw that hip back a little bit, really getting into that whole hamstring. And then look forward, slide that knee back. Make some nice big circles with your hips. And then perhaps you go around the other way. And then you come to a still point, you curl your toes, you're back in your plank pose, you roll yourself to the outer edge of your left foot, you lift your right arm up into the air, you're in a side plank. If you feel steady, you can try to drop your hip and lift, and drop, and lift. Try to look up to that right hand to challenge your balance. And then release that right hand down right away. Shift your weight to the outer edge of that right foot. Left arm comes up into the air. And you tap and lift, tap and lift. Look up to your left hand. And then look down at the floor. Come back to your plank. Right foot lifts a little bit and release. Left foot lifts a little bit and release. Come down onto your knees. And then you're going to slowly lower yourself all the way down onto your belly. Once you come down onto your belly, at first come up onto your forearms and let your forearms come to like the edges of your mat and turn your hands out a little bit. So your fingers are pointing away from you. You're on your forearms. Take a nice big breath in, lift your chest up. And exhale, stay here. This is Sphinx pose. This is a pose that you would commonly find in a yin or a restorative yoga class. A yin class oftentimes only does about 4 or 5 poses throughout the whole class, and they hold them for like 6 to 8 minutes. We're not going to do that now, though, sorry. So take another big breath in. And then as you exhale, lower yourself down and stretch your arms straight out in front of you. Let your forehead rest on the floor. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, lift your right leg and your left arm and hold it here for 2 breaths. And then release. Big breath in, exhale, left leg, right arm. 2 big breaths. And release. Bend your right knee, reach behind you, find your right foot, and hold on to it. Maybe try to lift that knee up off the mat ever so slightly. Release your knee, release your foot, release your arm. And then you bend your left foot, you reach behind you, you try to find it. And then ever so slightly lift that left knee off your mat. With control, release your knee, release your leg, release your arm. And then staying here, take a big breath in. As you exhale, lift both of your arms, lift your chest. Try to look down at your mat. Keep your chin tucked near your chest. I want length in your neck. I can't see you, but I hope that nobody's looking up right now. Look down. And then take a big breath in. As you exhale, bend your elbows so your arms look like the letter W. Inhale, stretch those arms. Exhale, letter W. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, bend. Release your hands next to your chest. And then straighten your arms. Lift your chest, lift your ribs, look up. You're in up dog. This is a very big back bend. Look down at your mat. Take a nice breath in. As you exhale, bend your elbows, pause. Bend your elbows a little bit more and pause. Bend your elbows a little bit more and pause. So your arms are glued next to your side. We've already done a lot of those chaturangas, so your arms might be tired right now. And then lower yourself a little bit more on pause. Take another big breath in, and as you exhale, straighten your arms, look up. Look forward or look down. Bend your elbows, pause. A little bit more and pause. A little bit more and pause. And then come all the way down and stretch those arms out in front of you again. You can turn your cheek for a moment. Take a couple of nice breaths. And then bring your forehead back to the mat. Your upper body's going to stay on the floor. We're going to concentrate on your lower body. So you're going to take a nice breath in. Exhale, lift your feet, lift your shins, maybe your knees come up a little bit. And then take another nice breath in. As you exhale, open your legs like scissors and close. Open like scissors and close. Open, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Close your legs, release them down. Turn your cheek in the opposite direction and take a couple of nice breaths. And then before I let you roll over, bring your forehead back to the mat. Take a nice big breath in. And as you exhale, lift both feet, lift both arms. Maybe your shins and knees come up. Try to look either at the edge of your mat or down at the floor in front of you. And then start to swim, moving your arms up and down, moving your legs up and down. And then with control, release yourself down. And you can roll over onto your back. So once you're on your back, bend your knees. And you're going to bring your right knee in toward your chest. Right, so we were just doing a lot of back bending. Up dog is a back bend. When you were in your Sphinx pose, that was a back bend. All of our cobras were back bends. So we're going to bring this right knee in. This almost mimics a little bit of a forward bend. And then release it down. Then bring your left leg in toward your chest. Release it down. Bring both knees in toward your chest. Bring your knees and thighs in as much as you can. Hold on to them. Take a nice breath in. And as you exhale, lift your chest, lift your head, almost like you're curling yourself up into a little ball. Release your head, release your shoulders. Arms come to your side. Legs stretch up into the air. Point your toes to your face. Nice big breath in. As you exhale, once again, lift your head and shoulders. This time your fingers are going to reach toward your toes. You're going to stay here. Maybe lift your butt up a little bit more. And then both of your hands move to the outside of that right foot and back to center. Outside of that left foot and back to center. Inhale right, exhale center. Inhale left, exhale center. Stay here, hold it, hold it, hold it. Release your head, release your shoulders. Bring your arms out to the side for support. Keep your legs glued together like they're the pendulum of a clock, and drop both of your legs down halfway to the left, and then bring them back to center. And then halfway to the right, and bring them back to center. Again, halfway to the left, and bring them back to center. Halfway to the right, bring them back to center. Bend your knees, hold on to your kneecaps. Start to make some big circles all the way around with your knees. Let your hands do most of the work. And then reverse it. And then come to a still point. Once again, open your arms out to the side. Let your knees come halfway down to the left. You're going to stay here. You should still be looking up at the ceiling. I'm turned so that I can see you, so that you can hear me. But your head should be, you should be looking up at the ceiling. And then extend your right leg out over your left. And lift that right leg up a little bit and hold it. Release your right knee on top of your left knee. Glue those knees together. Bring them back to center. And then both of those knees fall down to the right. Your left leg stretches out. Toes are pointing toward your shoulder. And then you're going to lift that left leg up. You're going to hold it up, hold it up, hold it up. Bend your knee, glue those thighs together. Bring your knees back to center. And now you can drop your legs all the way down to the left. Let your head turn to the right and hold on to that right thigh. And then bring those knees back up to center. Let them fall all the way down to the right. Let your head turn to the left. Hold on to the top of your left thigh. And then bring those legs back to center. Place your feet on the floor. You're going to walk your feet to the edges of your mat. You're going to let your knees fall down to the left. And then you're going to take your left foot and you're going to put it on top of your right knee or thigh. So what you're doing here is you're adding or deepening the stretch in that right hip flexor. So just imagine like if we were in class and I came over and put my hands gently on that right knee, guiding it down a little bit more. That's what you're doing with that left leg. So you're using your own body weight to deepen the stretch. Release your left foot, bring your legs back to center. Shift back a little. So notice if your feet tended to walk together, they like to do that. Separate them again. And then both of your knees fall down to the right. You take that right foot, you put it on top of that left knee or thigh, and you gently let the weight of that right leg stretch that left thigh and hip flexor. Release your right foot, bring your legs back to center. Walk your feet a little closer together. Bring your knees back in toward your chest. Place your hands on your thighs. Start to press your hands into your thighs. And as you're pressing your hands into your thighs, I want your thighs to be resistant. I want those thighs to be pressing back. So you really feel yourself firing up your lower abdominal muscles. And then release your hands, release your feet. Place your hands on your belly. Take a big breath in. As you begin to exhale, pull your belly button in toward your spine. And notice your low back anchoring to the floor. And then again, as you inhale, maybe you notice that curve of your low back increasing, right? Like you probably almost slide your hand under your low back. And as you exhale and pull that belly button in, your hips kind of tilt up a little bit, that low back presses into the floor. The next 2 times we do this, we're going to add our shush breath. So big breath in. And now exhale, pull your belly in, say shh. And then another big, full, deep breath in. And as you exhale, pull that belly in. Shh. Then you're going to bring your knees in. So Yep, I'll let you know where we're going with this. We're coming into shoulder stand. And in shoulder stand, I want you to use your hands like under your hips to start to lift yourself up. And you're going to lift your legs up, right? And you're going to walk your hands up your back. But if that's too challenging, you can kind of use a little rocking and rolling to get some momentum going. And you can just sort of rock yourself up and walk your hands up your legs, or up your back, I'm sorry. Legs are up in the air. If you feel safe, you can try to drop your legs behind you. Release your hands to the floor, bend your knees, and slowly roll yourself down, letting your hips land on your hands, and then letting your feet come down to the floor and stretching your legs straight out in front of you. So in our shoulder stand and then our halasana with our legs over our head, you are compressing your throat, right? You might have felt like you were suffocating a little bit. You were cutting off your ability to breathe easily. And in that process, you are also compressing your thyroid. So now we're going to stretch open our throat and hopefully get a little fresh blood there and activate that thyroid. So press into your elbows, come up onto your forearms, and then let your head drop back. Maybe your head comes onto the floor, and now you're in fish pose. Pressing into your elbows, lift your chest up, tuck your chin, remove your hands, and slowly lower yourself back down. Take a moment to reestablish that sense of connecting your back to the floor. And then bring your knees in toward your chest once again. Bring the soles of your feet together, coming to happy baby. Hold the outer edges of your feet. And then open one leg out to the side, open the other leg out to the side. Gently rock yourself from side to side. Come to a still point. Bring your feet back together, bring your knees back together, place your feet on the floor, and then stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Let your feet flop open, let your knees fall open. Allow your legs to feel heavy and at ease. And then turn your palms upward if that feels comfortable for you, helping to open your shoulders, helping to open your chest, allowing you to breathe more easily. If you find that when your body becomes still, your mind becomes very active, use that pranayama, that breath control. Maybe you pick a number, that 3 or that 5 or something in between or something a little bit higher, and do a few rounds counting your breath, controlling your breath. And then you can release any sense of controlling your breath. And let your breath find its own natural rhythm. Take another nice big breath in. And as you exhale, begin to travel through whatever motions you need to travel through to come back to sit. May your commitment to not harming others through your thoughts, words, and deeds inspire you to work to bring peace to all beings with whom you share this world. Take one more nice, grateful breath in. And as you exhale, bow forward. Namaste. Thank you all for joining me this lovely Thursday afternoon.